Welcome to practice. It's Kelly here, guiding you through a 1-hour Vinyasa. And as we start to arrive to our practice space, go ahead and come down into a crisscross pose or somewhere on the floor instead of standing so that you can ground down and put your yoga studio cap on. So imagine that you've taken your journey to your sacred yoga studio space, whether it's an outdoor patio in the jungle of Costa Rica or it's inside looking out a snowy window in a cabin, or whatever fantasy you have for your dream yoga studio, or maybe your favorite yoga studio in real time, right? See yourself driving to the parking lot, pulling up, opening the door, checking in, right? Unrolling your mat, showing up to your yoga studio. And then set the mood. This is important. Notice what you smell. Maybe you have the smell of cooking or coffee to guide you, or incense, essential oils. Anything that brings you joy is worth burning and smelling throughout your day today. It's the little things. And if you'd like to listen to light music, you can go ahead and put on Spotify or join me on a platform similar to that to listen to music, as I don't play any music in my classes, so that you can do as you please and for copyright issues, right? So I will link my Spotify below if you need the mood. So set the mood, right? And then we set our intention for practice today. Let's go ahead and come on down into a child's pose, and your knees are wide, your toes will come to touch, arms out in front of you. Go ahead and take child's pose and bring your forehead down to the floor. As you connect your third eye chakra is pressing into the mat, and not all of your weight is in the forehead, but as you start to inhale and lengthen your spine, you can pick up your neck and reset the head back down every so often until you find that sweet spot of forehead connection. And shoulders let go, jaw lets go. As your judgment lets go, we set our intention today to be judgment free, yes, of ourselves. This is quite obvious and easy to notice, but I'm talking about judgment with our loved ones and with this human experience. As we might be in a heightened time of stress, we feel judgment towards others, and we are misunderstanding that judgment. Truly, you are coming from a place of care, of love, of concern, perhaps, and it comes out as judgment, and it holds a bunch of gunk that we don't want in our mind and in our body. We do not want to wish anyone unwell. We want to release all judgment so that the heart is less heavy, so that your hips can unwind, let go. You're still in your child's pose. Let's take a side stretch. Walk both hands over to one corner of the mat and reset the head down if it reaches. Judgment free in our heart. We will crawl back to center. Breath is in. And exhale to switch sides. We're going nice and slow in practice today. Crawl back to center. As you choose to go slow, there's a saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. My army husband always says that. And so when you slow down and become more mindful, you have a much easier, ooier, gooier transition and experience. So how slow can you go? Left leg out nice and long. You're going to flex your toes down to the floor. As you breathe in, you'll roll your hip up to the sky. Think half moon pose, but with your hands on the floor. As you exhale, you'll roll your hip down, look down at the floor. Inhale, hip rolls up. belly button points down to the floor. As you breathe in, belly button turns to the left. Look down at your knee. Be sure that your hip and your knee are stacked in a nice line. And you're going to take 2 more of these hinges. And knee down to the floor. Any wiggles you might need before you switch sides. You're also welcome to come onto your fists if you are tender in your wrists. I love a good rhyme. We've got right leg nice and long, flex your toe down to the floor. You're not collapsing in your shoulders, they're active and lifted. A scoop of the tailbone, then breath in, right hip high. As you exhale, right hip low. Take it away, take a few, and your back foot's up to you. Untucked is a bit more of a challenge. Toe tucked might give you a bit more control if you need it. You're still looking down at the floor. 3, 2, and 1. Release your knee down to the floor. Zip the legs together to touch. Take a seat on your heels. You'll find your hero stance. Nice long spine. Your palms will turn face up. And settle into this pose. A light hinge forward. You must keep your spine nice and long, so fingertips can stay on the floor to hold you accountable. No caving in of the chest for now. Just crawl forward, spine stays long, booty stays on the heels. Exhale, lower. Inhale, straighten the arms. Down at the floor you go. Keep looking there. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale to lower. Breath in, long spine. Exhale, nice long core. Take 1 more round and grow just a bit taller. Lift and puff through the chest. Breath out, you'll bob down to the mat. And then crawl onto the forearms. Your arms are nice and your palms are nice and wide. And you'll look down at your elbows. They're right underneath your shoulders. Take a few rounds of cat and cow. And find a neutral spine. Not all of your weight is dumped into your front half or your back half. You're going to play and bob back and forth until you find that nice, secure, tight navel. And we build on. So right leg extends out nice and long. Keep your toe flexed down to the floor. Hold here. Keep looking down at the mat. Option to drop your head. You can look down at your hips too, to kind of give yourself your own mirror. See what you can notice. Hold. 3, 2, and 1. Tiger's pose, knee to nose. Try to keep your right knee off of the mat. Look towards the knee, suck in the belly, press into the elbows. 3, 2, and 1. Re-extend the leg. Any free-form movement you might want to take. And you will switch sides. Any wiggles? Check on the palms. You're using your fingertips. This is a great way to strengthen the fingertips by tenting them, pressing them into the floor. And left leg out nice and long. Flex the foot, tight belly. Look down at the mat and hold. Tiger's pose, knee to nose. We use the exhale to do so. Tighten the belly, look at the knee, and let's use the elbows to press into the floor. Press the floor away from you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Re-extend the leg nice and long. Any free form movement, bend at the knee. We enjoy the spaces in between. Come on down to your heels, take a seat, and then join me for a one-legged fixed firm. If you have a block or a pillow, you are welcome to take a seat on it if you need a bit more support. I find this pose much more attainable with one-legged variation than with the full expression. So right leg's out long, and then your left leg will come into that fixed firm. So calf is off to the side. Check in with your ankle. Your knee is going to stay on the floor, and just hang out here for a moment. Get acquainted with the pose or get your prop where it needs to be. You are worth 4 whole seconds to get your prop in the right spot. Toe is flexed. Do not let the leg roll out. You are trying to evenly sit on both sits bones. We hold here. Gaze, eyes down the tip of the nose. Lean back just a bit, little tuck of your chin. We have a few ways to hinge in this pose. If you'd like to recline on back, some of you can come down onto your spine, but we're just getting started with practice today, so I would come back onto your hands, really wide starfish palms. On your inhale, you'll straighten the arms best you can, but any bend in the elbow is okay. Look forward, then roll, chin up towards the sky. And back to center you go. You'll start here and a light hinge forward on your breath out. Now remember, we took this hinge forward with both legs bent before, and I was talking about that straight spine. You can bob with the breath if that feels good. If staying in one spot serves you better, look down at the knee and hold. And if I were standing behind you, I would put my hands on your shoulders here and pull them back so that when you breathe in, you're nice and tall. Imagine hands holding onto your shoulders so that you can sink a little bit deeper. Thank you, third eye. Aren't you so glad that you activated your source of intuition here? Let's release the pose as graceful as you can and know how. Get the foot out in front of you. Any wiggles you might need to take. Let's do a boat pose in between. Get the core nice and active. Arms will reach out in front of you. Feet will lift off of the mat. If you need a little assistance because you haven't done boat pose in a week, then go ahead and bring your hands onto the back of your thighs. Full expression Navasana. We're here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the pose. Let's switch out our fixed firm legs. Go ahead and bend into the knee. Take a seat on your heel. Do not take a seat on your heel, is what I meant to say. Be sure you're not sitting on your heel, but rather right on that sits bone. Toe is flexed. You go through your checklist of things that need to be accounted for, and then we proceed. So sit up nice and tall. Little bend in the knee if you're unsure. Hyperextending and pushing down to the floor is something we are trying to avoid. We hold. Time to recline. Hands will come behind you. Press into them. Roll the chest up towards the sky. Perhaps you can see all the bird activity at my house. There is a nest directly above me in the rafters of my house. So you can hear their little feet. They're about to flee the nest. It's that time of year. So don't mind my bird friends. And then we'll come out of the pose. You'll use your breath out to hinge forward. Little bend in the knee. Time for your hands-on, spiritual hands-on adjustment. So peel the chest open, hands are behind you on the shoulders. Take a breath in, feel the hands pull on you, pull back, sit up tall. And open mouth, exhale, hinge forward just a bit. If you have a loved one that you're practicing with, perhaps you can find some hands-on adjustments that they can help you with. You are your own best yoga teacher. Let's come out of the pose, roll the ankles. Let's take Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of the feet together. You will butterfly your legs. Take a breath in, sit up nice and tall. And breath out, chin will round in towards the chest. Eyes will soften, no strain in the eyes. Cat and cow here. You'll breathe out, you'll push away, round the spine, look at your belly button. Inhale, pull gently on the shins, bend at the elbows, chin up. Exhale, chin down. You'll enjoy a few. We are getting rid of judgment, right? So you're not worried about how silly you look or feel as you take your washing machines and take a few swivels around the feet. Switch directions, hold on to your feet or shins gently as you do this. And then back to center we will go, knees will close. Let's come into our high plank pose, Phalakasana. Press into the hands, high plank, you'll breathe in. Low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog as you breathe in, and downward facing dog as you breathe out. I'll stay here in downward facing dog with you 5 rounds of breath. You're welcome to wiggle as you please. Just keep the head dropped. Look towards the navel or between your thighs. Off you go. Take it away. Downward dog. We build on. You're going to look to the top of the mat, step, hop, find your forward fold at the top, Uttanasana. As you exhale, head drops down to the floor. Give it a shake here in your ragdoll pose. Up to standing we go. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and so we roll up. Easy breezy, press the hips forward, arms sweep overhead, take a breath in. Back bend as you breathe out. Back to center. Stay in mountain, arms will stay overhead. I'm a tall lady, I bet you can't see all of my arms, that's okay. You still know how to back bend, press your hips forward, you'll cactus your arms open. Let's hold our back bend. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to center we go, mountain pose. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift. Take a breath in. Keep your right foot on the floor. You're going to step your left foot back and find your low lunge. Hold here in your low lunge. Find some free form wiggles to get your thigh nice and low, your torso nice and low to your thigh. Look at your back heel. Left heel nice and high. Still here, low lunge. Nice long spine, tuck of the chin. Look at the floor. 3, 2, and 1. Back to the top of the mat. Find your forward fold. Head drops down to the floor. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Fold forward as you exhale. Arm sweep overhead, breathe in. Back bend as you exhale. Back to center, breathe in. Forward fold, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Left foot stays on the floor, right foot steps back, find your low lunge. Just time to open up the groin and the hip, lift your heel high, check out your knee right over your ankle. You're happy to be here, so let the jaw unwind, take a smile. No one can see you. Judgment free. You're still here, suck in the belly, grow a bit taller. 3, 2, and 1. Step your foot to the top of the mat, forward fold, Uttanasana. Arm sweep overhead, breath is in, extended mountain. Back bend as you exhale. Back to center, find your mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Plant the palms, step back, high to low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog as you breathe in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Right leg comes nice and high, 3-legged dog. Step the leg through between the hands. Seal your back foot down for warrior 1. Before you come up, you can certainly enjoy pressing this left foot into the floor. It's one of my favorite stretches for my calf and my hamstring. Then slowly come on up, warrior 1s. You get to choose your stance today. I'm really focusing on stretching my calf. That's my priority. So I have a bit of a shorter stance so that I can really seal my heel down to the floor. If you're going a bit wider, just keep turning your hips to the front of the room. Arm sweep overhead, Virabhadrasana. Warrior 1s, go ahead and clasp your hands behind you and try to create a fist. If that's too tight for you, you're going to join me holding onto your forearms. And remember, your spiritual yoga teacher is standing behind you, pulling on your shoulders. Puff up your chest, lift your chin up towards the sky. We work on our balance. Hold here. If you need more of a challenge, close your eyes, sink deeply into your right leg. Off you go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. As you breathe out, you'll keep your bind. You'll come back to center, straighten your right leg. As you breathe out, we will start to fold into our pyramid. If you need a shorter stance, keep your right foot on the floor and just step your left foot up a bit. Hold on to your bind behind you. You can kiss the shin if that's within reach, or you can hang out with me. About halfway lift. Your weight is even in each foot. Not dumping all your weight into the right side. My surfers, keep pressing in to the left edge of your foot. 3, 2, and 1. Come out of your pyramid, sweep the arms overhead. Warrior 1, we breathe in. Back bend as you exhale. Back to center, we rise. Burst open to your star pose. We'll face the front of the room. And holding here, hands will come onto your hips. Take a little bend at your knee. Find a stance that serves you. Next time you're binge watching a show, like 3, 4, 5 hours of binge watching a show, watch an episode standing like this. Every so often, you're going to scoop your tailbone and your hips are going to pop and make all sorts of crazy noises. Your knees are not in pain, neither are your ankles. So you're gonna get to know yourself a little better standing in this, tucking your tailbone, and then your hands are up to you. That's what's fun about doing this for 25 minutes or an hour when you're standing watching TV. Keep your legs this way and then do stuff with your arms. Start with arms overhead. That's plenty of work. If your low back starts to get tender, bend at your knees. Let's do it together. Shoulder dips. This is living, breathing yoga. Yes, you should, or I should recommend to you to safely practice yoga without the distraction of, TV on in the background. I'm not prescribing that, but be realistic, right? If you are already watching endless amounts of TV and folding laundry or something like that, can you stand in a pose like this? And I guarantee you, if you're getting really into it, you'll pause the show and do yoga for 5 whole minutes. You can grab your right wrist, breathe in, and exhale, arch to one side. Back to center we go. Grab onto the left wrist, nice and easy. Exhale, switch sides. To center we go. A star pose. You'll breathe in and you'll back bend as you breathe out. Back to center. We rise. Turn into the right foot. We have practiced our lunges. Come on down. Hands drop down to the mat. Right leg high. 3-legged dog. High to low plank as you exhale. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Take a breath in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Go with your flow. Enjoy the in-between. 5 rounds of breath. We're getting ready for Warrior One. Try sealing your right foot down into a Warrior One-like stance and just feel that stretch. It is so lovely. Press into your hands, and then you're welcome to join us any transition you see fit. Some take left leg nice and high for 3-legged dog. Others step their foot right on through to Warrior One. Arms will meet overhead. You're in no rush to get there. May we meet with the arms overhead, so long as your shoulders feel all right. And then little tuck of your chin. Suck in the belly. Living, breathing yoga. Judgment free. Breathe out. Clasp your hands behind you. Take the same variation that you did on that side. As you puff up the chest, hold on to your spiritual shoulders. 3, 2, and 1. Option to close the eyes and try your deepest expression. If you can't go deeper, you're holding. You are kind with yourself. Unclench your backside. Let that right cheek go. And then eyes will come back to center. Take a round of breath here. Left leg nice and long, set up for pyramid. If you need a different stance, take it. Shorten the backside. Just keep your left foot like your true north of your compass. Try to keep that foot put and get in the habit of your back foot hopping around. Parsvatanasana. Check in with your breath. When we start to get flowing, we take a few rounds of sun salutations. You don't want to compromise your breath and be holding your breath and huffing and puffing when you're in a pose like this, for example. So if you need to cut your vinyasa out, I have a lovely modification for you today. As you inhale, exhale, let's come out of our pyramid pose, lunge deeply into your warrior one. Let's release, arms will sweep overhead, lunge into your knee, and then you'll take star pose. Burst open, we face the other side of the room, take a back bend as you exhale. Back to center, we rise. And then we take what I call happy baby on the floor. So you're gonna stay in that star pose, bend at your knees, and bring your hands down to the mat. It's pretty similar to happy baby, but just from a different angle. And if your hands don't reach the floor, you can rest your forearms on the tops of your thighs. But close your eyes and start to think about your happy baby pose and how similar it is to what we're doing here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. To release the pose, you're scooping your tailbone while heading up. Star pose, burst open, breathe in. Back bend as you exhale. Back to center. You'll set up into your low lunge. We are returning to the front side of the mat. When you drop your hands down to the mat, if you don't want a vinyasa, step your back foot up to meet your front and take a forward fold. But if you're ready to flow, you know what to do. High plank, breathe in. Low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog as you breathe in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. And if you took a forward fold, you just crawl back into your downward facing dog, widen your stance. There's always ways to spice it up or take it down a notch. Widen your knees. We take a child's pose to catch the breath. We'll be here for about 10 rounds of breath. Your priority is to slow it down. This is strategic. Use your yoga time mindfully, wisely. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose if you are able to do so. Ujjayi pranayama will guide you. Breath in onto the hands. Take a light dip of the hips down towards the mat. Little cobra frog action. And then back to center you go. I'll meet you in your high plank pose. Take a breath in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward facing dog. Breath is in. And downward facing dog as you breathe out. Right foot to the top of the mat, find low lunge, and step your left foot up to the top of the mat. Let's practice that transition to forward fold. Arm sweep overhead, standing, breathe in. Back bend, exhale. Arms overhead, breathe in. Fold forward, breathe out. Stay with me, right foot on the floor, left foot steps back, low lunge. Then high plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, exhale. Left leg high, 3-legged. Low lunge, step it through. Right foot meets your left. Forward fold, big breath out, look behind you. Arms sweep overhead, extended mountain, go slow. Back bend as you exhale. Back to center, rise. Fold forward, breathe out. Left foot on the floor, right foot steps back, low lunge. High plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Down dog, meet you there. Right leg high, set up for warrior one. As you exhale, foot steps through. Virabhadrasana, arms sweep overhead, breathe in. Back bend, exhale. Back to center, we rise. Bow forward, airplane your arms. Straighten your right leg, breathe in. Full pyramid pose as you breathe out. Arms sweep overhead, warrior one. Back bend, exhale. Star pose, burst open. Wide-legged fold, breath is out. Find Prasarita Padottanasana. Only 3 rounds of breath here. Let your head drop down to the floor. A little pigeon toe of your feet if that serves you better. Have trust as you start to lean forward. Trust the toes, trust the ball mounds of the feet. Head down to the mat. To safely come out of the pose, you can bring your hands to your hips. We'll meet in star pose. You'll burst open, breathe in. Back bend, exhale. Back to center, we rise. Find that warrior one-like stance at the top of the mat. Let's flow. Hands down to the mat. If you modify, join me. Left foot to the top of the mat, forward fold. Let your head drop to the floor. If you're taking your sun salutation, I'll meet you in downward facing dog. No rush. Forward fold, step your feet back into down dog. So we're ready to switch sides. Left leg high, we set up for warrior one. Step the foot through between the hands, arms sweep overhead, Virabhadrasana. Take a back bend as you exhale. Back to center, arms high. Airplane them behind you. Breathe out. Straighten the left leg, breathe in. Exhale, two-fold, pyramid pose. Arms sweep overhead, find your warrior one. Back bend as you exhale. Back to center, we rise. Star pose, I'll see you there. Pigeon toe your feet. This is our wide-legged fold. You might see that I have a chair right here. So be sure that you're not twerking your hips to the left or to the right. They stay nice and square. You can use a chair. It's a very lovely prop for your Prasarita Padottanasana. This is your reminder to be judgment-free, my Omis. It's just yoga. Star pose, burst open, breathe in, back bend, exhale. Back to center, lunge deeply into your left leg, hands down to the mat. Choose to flow with us. Step back, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breath is in. And downward facing dog. As you exhale, 5 rounds of breath, Adho Mukha Svanasana. What to do to modify? Drop down to the knees or to your forearms. You're welcome to take that forearm tabletop we worked on earlier. And knees drop down to the mat. Go ahead and come down to the forearms if you have yet to do so. And extend your right leg out nice and long. We have been here before. Foot is nice and flexed. 3, 2, and 1. Tiger's pose, knee to nose, round. Right leg nice and high. Take a breath in. And let's take pigeon pose, a little bit more support on the floor. See if you enjoy that transition a bit better. Pigeons, you're gonna look over your left shoulder. Check out the back foot. Happy to be here. Grab a prop if you need it. You're welcome to stay on your hands. How are you guys doing? Check in. Are you doing better after a little bit of yoga? I bet. Me too. Come on down to your forearms. Look down at the floor. Pranayama is your priority. A few more conscious moments in pigeon. If the mind has wandered, invite it to join us back on the mat. Onto the hands you will go. You will re-extend your right leg out nice and long, and we'll come out of the pose. Easy breezy. You'll take a high plank. That'll be on the breath in. And lower yourself all the way down to the belly. Breath out. Toes are untucked. Breath in, cobra pose. Peel your chest off of the mat. Hug your elbows in towards one another. Let's hold. Three, two, and one. Release your head down to the mat. Open your arms nice and wide like a T. You'll switch sides with your eyes. Press into your right hand, peel your right hip off of the mat, let your foot start to lightly drop behind you as you stretch the armpit. Head stays on the floor. Back to center we go. Spend a moment switching sides. Look over to the left. Tend to your left fingers. Hopefully my chair is not too far in the way. Roll your right hip stays on the floor, left hip starts to open if you're on this side with me here. You should feel this predominantly in the shoulder, in the armpit. Any variation for support with your hand is welcome. Bonus points if you have a couch behind you to help. And back to center we go. From here, you can flow with us, tucking your toes. Hands will slide underneath your shoulders. High plank as you breathe in. Low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog as you breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. From your down dog, we drop down to the forearms, down to the knees. Left leg nice and high. Flex the toe. Take a breath in. Tiger's pose, knee to nose, around the spine. Keep the left leg off the floor. Press into your right forearm too, not just your left side. Let's lift and re-extend. Left leg nice and long. We're hopping into pigeon pose, best way you know how. Find your figure 7 going on here. Look over your right shoulder. How's that foot? And then you'll head down, same depth that you took on the other side to the best of your ability. And unclench your teeth, or ungrit your teeth is what I smooshed together. So I like to think of a spiritual mouthwash. Go ahead and give your cheeks a little swish so that you can let go a little more in the mouth. Doing great, yogis. Go ahead and come out of the pose. You'll find your hands, tuck your back toes. Let's do it. Left leg nice and high. You'll re-extend, breathe in, and take a high to low plank as you exhale. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Take a breath in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Look where you're going. You're gonna drop on down into a seat. I'm going to turn to face the same way as you. Let's catch the breath. Arrive into a comfortable pose. Take any creature comforts you might need. I wish I had my coffee. It's too far away. So I will take a sip of my spiritual coffee and cheers you right now to it. And we build on. I'm going to work on half lotus today, but you have many options in between. We're going to start with the left leg, and your right foot's going to stay put. So some of you will be having your left leg on top of the right, and that is plenty of sensation for you. You can take fire log pose, which is what we've been working on a bunch, or you can take the edge of your foot, bring it on up into the hip crease of your right side. Your goal is to have your heel kind of digging into this intestinal pocket. We've got the edge of your foot digging into the hip crease, and then you're gonna sit up nice and tall, and as you exhale, you're gonna lightly bow forward. The range is up to you. Some of you can do forehead to the floor. Go for it. There's different things that we all need to prioritize in yoga class, which is why we do not judge others in what we think they should be doing. Because my priority right now is keeping my backside on the floor. So I could fold forward more and kiss the floor, but the stretch is going to change and feel different, and I need relief in that part of my body. There's going to be other yogis that need a deep stretch in their neck, so all they want to do is drop their head and let it go, and you never know what's going on, which is why we remain judgment free and realize that we just care about them and we care about the teacher and everyone playing along. Unique variations. We are all going to have something different. So we better get used to it, right? Judgment free. We sit up nice and tall. You're going to take your left lotus leg, your Ekapada Padmasana, and you're going to shake it out. You can extend that left leg out nice and long and keep this sole of the foot into that left leg. We stay here and exhales to lightly bow forward. Now we are folding over. You should feel a stretch now on this left leg, nice and long. Hands are up to you if you need more of a challenge. Hold yourself accountable. You can interlace your hands like I have behind me. Some yogis like to open wide like a T, or forehead, elbow connection to the mat. 3, 2, and 1. Sit up nice and tall. Take your right hand, swivel it behind you, press into it, breathe in, hips nice and high, fallen star. Hips down to the mat, take a breath out. Let's switch out the legs. Right leg, I think, is gonna stay here. Left foot curls in and you take your one-legged lotus. So your right foot is coming into your hip crease. Thanks for embracing whatever flies out of my mouth. So we start here, and you must be pain-free. So you're allowed to change your mind. As you breathe out, you can fold forward. Take the same depth as you did before. We use our inhales to rise, sit up nice and tall, and now we'll extend that right leg on out. Give it a little shake, a little wiggle, and I'll see you in this shape here. You get to pick the width and depth of this stance. You can bend at your knee if this is too intense for you. We're building on. Folding up and over, you're gonna keep your V nice and wide and your eyes towards the floor. Hanging out. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sit up tall, take your left hand, let it swivel behind you. Press into your knee, hips nice and high, fallen star. Hips down to the floor. And go ahead and stick both legs out nice and long. Let's take staff pose. Take your hands, bring them onto the sides of the hips, and we roll the neck up on the inhale. Chin in towards the chest as you exhale. We'll take 2 more of those before we hold. Exhales to look down. Breath in to look up. Exhales to look down and hold. Dandasana. Keep pressing into the hands. If you need more of a challenge, try lifting your sits bones off of the floor. Do your best. Do not grit the teeth. 3, 2, and 1. Release your hips to the floor. Let's take mermaid. Swivel both feet to one side. You'll find a seat on one side, and as you breathe out, you will crawl towards the feet. So you're getting a nice side stretch from your hip on the floor up to the rib cage. This arm is up to you. You can hold on to your hip. That's lovely for me. Some like to reach their arm up and overhead. That's a good one too. To release the pose, first sit up tall, then legs in front of you. Let's go ahead and give the legs a gentle shake. See if you enjoy mermaid pose. I would add that one into your daily routine. It's a lovely one. Go ahead and drape your feet over to this side. Sit up nice and tall. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you'll lightly arch. You're not dumping all of your weight into the ankles. If this hurts your feet, put some pillows underneath your joints and mimic what you did on the other side. So, any ice cream scoops, any rock and roll arms, as we say, you do you. Judgment-free intention today. 3, 2, and 1. Back to center we go. Release your legs, stick them out in front of you. And we'll head on down to the floor. I always cue these poses or something very similar to them towards the end of Shavasana, or towards the end to get to Shavasana, because they really do help reset a lot of the body parts for a successful Shavasana. There will be days when the internal chatter of your Shavasana will make it less rewarding than other days, and sometimes that's out of our control in the sense that we need to accept whatever Shavasana we have. Sometimes we fall asleep in their amazing, best part of the day, and sometimes you're in pain, physically, mentally, spiritually, or you're distracted. And so I find that these few little routines that I'll take with you really help my body feel like it's sinking into the floor, and that is a distraction from the other things that my mind could go to. So that's just one way of thinking of it, and for setting up for success. I'm always saying to get your ponytails out of the way, so I'm going to do the same. If you have anything that you can get out of your way, or if you just want to put your hair up on top of your head, some braids on either side. Perhaps your hair doesn't get in your way at all. Be grateful for whatever your experience is. Slowly roll yourself down onto the floor, and then we set up the head. And how we do that is having the low back suction cup to the floor. Interlace your hands onto the back of your head. You're going to pick up your head for you. So once the head is in your hands, use your breath in to lift the head. Use the strength of your hands to lightly rock your head side to side. Your spine might be noisy. Go slow. And you'll meet us in the middle, chin in towards the chest. Take this little crunch, but press into your feet to keep your low back suction cup to the floor. Then set your head down on the floor. Reach your hands and your feet up to the sky. This is dead bug pose. Your shoulders are on the floor, so don't have them lifted too high off. But once everything starts to lift, any bend in the elbows or knees is just fine. Make your low back your priority. Little tuck of your chin. Instead of using all of your abdominals, can you start to relax your stomach so you have an empty and open pool in your pelvic bowl, and you're using the strength of everything else to keep everything lifted, all other parts of the core. Then you're going to bring the left sole of the foot down to the floor, and you're going to reach for your right foot to take Happy Baby. Once you find Happy Baby, some of you can straighten your left leg out nice and long. You're welcome to bring your foot on the floor and interlace your left hand onto the back of your head. This is a Happy Baby crunch. Think of it as a stretch for the back of your shoulder blade. So as you inhale, elbow will reach towards this Happy Baby. Feel a stretch on the back side of your shoulder. Release your head down to the floor, spine down to the floor. Inhales to lift, elbow to knee, and exhales to lower down. Let's take 2 more rounds. Inhale to lift, and exhales to lower. Inhales to crunch. Exhales to lower. Then release your hand off the back of the head. We'll take a gentle supine twist. Release your Happy Baby leg, drape it over to the right side of the mat. Arms nice and wide like a T. Back to center we go. Twist back to center. Release your spine onto the floor and interlace your hands onto the back of the head. Pick the head up. Take that light series. Rock the head to the left, to the right. Then in the center, inhale, chin in towards the chest. As you exhale, set the head down, dead bug pose, all limbs up to the sky. Let's say you can't reach the edge of your foot. When we go into that one-legged happy baby, you can also hold on to the back of your thigh. Seal your right foot down to the floor. Start to reach for your left leg to take happy baby. See what you can do. And then interlace your hand onto the back of your head. We take that crunch. Inhale, elbow to knee. And exhale, release. We take a few more at your pace. Take it away. And release your hand off to the side. We'll then extend your right leg out nice and long. From here, supine twist. Knee over to the right side of the mat. Arms wide like a T, set up for success. Back to center. Before we head into Shavasana, we should roll out the spine just a bit. I'm going to give you a few options. The most easy breezy one will be pressing into your feet like bridge pose. Inhale, hips up. Exhale, hips down. Those of you that want a bit more, you can take shoulder stand or plow. We're only going to be here for a few moments. If you need something in between, find some momentum. Let's go ahead and rock and roll the length of our spine. So inhale into a seat and exhale, rock back. Maybe a plow pose or a shoulder stand or something in between. Get a nice little stretch in the back of the neck. Enjoy some free form movement. We must find time to be spontaneous. Why not right now for just a few seconds? Do as you please to get a nice roll out of your spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's set up for Shavasana. You'll burst open, legs nice and wide, palms turned face up. Do not skip your Shavasana. Find your sweet corpse pose. Open mouth. Let's come out of the pose and into consciousness. We are reborn from our Shavasana. Arms sweep overhead, suck in your belly, full body stretch. Knees hug in towards your chest. You'll take a fetal pose on one side of the mat, and I'll meet you in a seat as you guide yourself on up. Legs crisscross. Sukhasana as you lean back and invite yourself to see visions of your lovely yoga studio that surrounds you. Your peaceful oasis and the scene that you have set, the ambiance, the smell, the attitude, the intention, the effort for this sprinkle of self-care is going to help rejuvenate our fountain. Our infinite life source, bring your hands to heart center as the light and the teacher in me is honored to guide the teacher, the light in you. Bow forward. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. It was a pleasure, as always, to practice with you. May you continue to be judgment-free with yourself and with others, and likely a perspective shift on when judgment comes up, because judgment is a very valid emotion, and when you feel it, we're not going to lie to ourselves and give ourselves a guilt trip for then being judgmental, because yikes, what a snowball. Just be proud that you've noticed that judgment is what has come up to the door, and just go from there. Sometimes you can't take action, just acknowledgement that judgment has surfaced, and likely the source of that judgment is either from fear, misunderstanding, or deep concern, which I call love. So have a great day, chew on that, and let me know if you have any questions or any musings to share with me. Namaste.